together again on the radio. Looking at a story in Money magazine. And it talks about people who are, they use the word single. I'd have preferred the word unmarried. Because single implies that there's a vacuum or a void that needs to be filled. Which there isn't. Unmarried means just that. Not married. Don't need to be married. May never get married. Single implies desperation. You know, people who are single appear desperate. Yeah, think about the word single. What do you think of people who go on singles cruises? Desperate. Singles bar, remember that term? Desperation. I mean, the word single just, it creeps me out. Then you hear phrases like Jewish singles, Christian singles. I just think of eHarmony.com and all those desperate people looking to hook up in 29 areas of compatibility. Oh, please. But Money Magazine has a story about people who are, the first word in the headline says single. It talks about the fact that there are now more, I'm going to say unmarried people, than there have ever been before. It says in this story that in the 1950s, married couples made up 80% of the country's households, and today they account for a hair over 50%, and singles, they say, are poised to take the lead soon. In Money Magazine, they say here that divorce, which is how about half of all marriages end, as I always tell you, plays a big part in why there are so many single people. Says here that people are marrying later or they just aren't marrying at all. Very nice. Nearly a quarter of the population older than 35 is divorced. That's my crew. And possibly some have never tied the knot at all around their neck. It's an increase of 16% over the past decade. That means there's 16% more unmarried people now than there were 10 years ago. And for all of the talk about getting married and all of these supposed benefits, let me remind you about this. I'm looking at this story, and it talks about the various tax credits you get for having children or for being married, capital gains taxes you save, and what have you. And there are many people who think there are financial advantages to being married. Let me compare it to something else. How many of you bought a house because you were always told that there were tax advantages to owning a home? Plus, it was a great way of saving. Now, many of you who bought a house in a particular year, let's say 2002, and sold it in a particular year, say 2005, may feel like you made a lot of money selling your home. Having owned a home was good for you, you think. But most of us don't. Just like with stocks, they say don't time the market. Most of us don't know when the bottom of the real estate market is or when it's hitting the top. So most of us are not in at the bottom or the top. So what you have to look at is not just how much money you make when you sell the house. You know, what'd you make? $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. But how much it costs to operate a house long-term when you're in it. And in my own house, for example, you know, you pay rent and I pay a mortgage. And my mortgage is somewhat more than I would pay in rent, but let's forget about that part. Okay? Let's talk about the expenses I have that I would not have if I were in an apartment. Property taxes. In my case, I pay over $9,000 in property taxes every year. $9,000 a year. Okay, that's over $700 a month in property taxes alone. All right? Insurance, homeowners insurance, fire insurance, earthquake insurance. Thousands and thousands of dollars for that. Every time the toilet backs up or there's a leak of some kind, I can't dial the super or the building manager. No. I have to pay somebody to come here and fix it. Or I have to learn how to fix stuff, which if I lived in an apartment of any worth, I wouldn't have to fix anything. You call the building manager and they send somebody up to fix it. In my house, not only that, because I own it, there is the cost of keeping it looking good and keeping it in good shape generally. I just redid the stucco on the front of my house. I'm about to do the stucco on my whole house. Again. Landscaping. Even when you have as little flat ground as I do in the Hollywood Hills, there's landscaping here. I mean, the list goes on. Buying a house is not a good investment in terms of making a financial profit. The best reason to buy a house is the time you get to enjoy living in it. The time that you get to do whatever you want in that house. Because after you deduct out all the expenses of owning a house, whatever profit you make selling it evaporates to, in some cases, less than nothing. When I bought my house, I bought it because I plan to live in it for the rest of my life. Because I love it that much. And so it doesn't matter what it's worth. I don't have to go on Zillow.com or any of these websites where you can check out the price of your home. Doesn't matter. I'm not selling. It's not for sale. All you realtors keep coming to my door, leaving me Frisbees and memo pads with your name on it and stuff. You can save your time and the cost of doing that. This house that I own is not for sale. It's that simple. But certainly if I sold my house, whatever profit I would make selling a house that by the way, I was lucky. I bought my house at the bottom of the market. Through sheer luck. I bought my house back in spring of 1997. And by now it's worth almost $2 million more than I paid for it. But I also did a $2 million renovation on the house. So the profit is almost nil. The profit is the enjoyment I've had living in my house. And being able to hammer nails into the wall or change rooms around or change the colors of things if I want. To make a bedroom into a closet. Can't do that in an apartment. That's the profit you make. So you've got to remember that, and by the way, I'm tying this back in. Don't think I forgot where I started here. I didn't. You got to remember that buying a house to live in, this is a very important piece of information for young people who are thinking about buying a house because you think people are making all this money and you need to get in on it. Don't do it. Because, number one, you'll probably lose money or break even at best financially. And number two, if you don't know where you want to live and you don't really have the perfect place to live, you're just buying a condo to get in on this, you may or may not enjoy where you're living, or you may enjoy where you're living, you may not. You may stupidly get into a relationship with somebody who doesn't like where you live or doesn't like your condo, which most women, by the way, guys, will not like the place you live, and they will try to get you to change it. And then you may have to sell your condo at an inconvenient time when prices are down or mortgages are up or whatever. The best reason for buying a home is not the profit you're going to make. The best reason for buying it is to enjoy living it. Now let's go to getting married. It's the same thing. Anybody who gets married for the tax benefits is a fool. A fool. Because remember, yes, you'll get child tax credits. Yes, you'll get exemption for being married. Yes, if you own a house, then you sell it, you double the amount of a profit exempted from capital gains taxes when you sell a house, you know. But the financial cost of being married far, and I'm saying this as someone who's been married and divorced 4 times, the cost of being married and divorced far outweighs the cost of the benefits of getting married. The financial benefits are not bigger. And I'm telling you from recent experience, okay? When I got divorced and I began to live alone without having to pay, I was just looking at old gas bills today. Here's an example. I was paying my gas bill, and on the website for the gas company, they've got the whole history of my bill going back years. My gas bills are cheaper. I'm not buying clothing for 2 people, and the second person always spent more than I did. I'm not making anybody else's car payment. I'm not with somebody who's calling her parents in other countries, paying a huge phone bill. I'm not paying for somebody who wants to go to Starbucks all the time. I'm not paying for handbags or shoes. You know, whatever benefits I once got, tax benefits or whatever, or the supposed benefits of 2 people living as cheaply as one, it's a lie. Because when the second person is a woman, she spends money hand over fist. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that rule, but generally speaking, women are not savers or investors. They are spenders. They are consumers. And men are payers. So when you get married, getting married for the tax benefits or any financial benefits is crazy. There just aren't any. The benefit is if you happen to need to be married and you happen, for whatever reason, like let's say you decide you want to have children and you want the children to have your last name, and you've decided to put the best interests of the kid ahead of your own best interests, which people rarely do. They say they do it, but they rarely do it. The bottom line is that what you will get is the enjoyment of being with the other person. That's the profit you will make. But financially, you will not be better off. In fact, I think you'll be worse off. There's a cost. There's a tax. I decided after 4 divorces that the cost of being in love is more than I intend to pay. There actually is a cost of being in love. There's a cost of having 24/7 companionship. There's a cost. Just like there'd be a cost in having a 24/7 bodyguard or a 24/7 chauffeur or 24/7 housekeeping or 24/7 cook on the premises like Hugh Hefner has at the Playboy Mansion. Guess what? There's a cost in having a 24/7 companion. And in life, you have to decide whether that cost is worth what you're getting. You know, for some people, it's a better deal to rent an apartment than to buy one. As you know, as many of you know, many of you would like to drive a better car. And you drive a better car when you lease one rather than buying one. Unless you're rich and you can afford anything you want. How many people listening to this show lease a better car than they can afford to buy? Uh-huh. So what I'm telling you is there's a cost of doing business, and there's a cost of companionship. So when I look at these stories, like the one in Money Magazine about single people outpacing married people, and the financial protections that singles should be getting for themselves, and the tax benefits of being married, blah, blah, blah. There's no benefit financially to being married. There's a cost. I consider it a tax, a love tax. How much tax are you willing to pay to have somebody love you? Because when you pay for all their expenses, my view, it's just a tax. In order to get someone to love you, you have to buy their shoes, buy their handbags, buy their clothing. You have to make their car payment. Many times you morons bail them out of debt. You know, it could be student loans or credit card debts from the past or whatever. All of that to have somebody say, I love you. And the question in my mind is being in love worth the cost?
1-800-5800-TOM.
From what I gather, you're saying they're sluts if they sleep with you and they're bitches if they don't.
Yes, actually, that comes from the Tom Leykis glossary.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. At 1-800-5800-TOM. Thank you for tuning in. It's Rob on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Professor.
Yes, sir.
Hey there, man. How you doing?
Doing okay.
Good, good. Listening to your intro here today, and man, I have been through the ringer before with these chicks. Money, money, money. All they do is they want your money, man. Period. End of story. Girlfriend number one. Bought her a car. I was doing really well. Decided, hey, you know what? I'll take care of her. I'll buy her a car. Bought her a Honda Accord. I'm like, all you have to do is pay the insurance bill, right? That's all you have to do. She couldn't even do that. Took a couple Percocets and a glass of Chardonnay, crashed her car, came home. I'm like, what the hell did you do to your car? Okay, end of story. She crashed her car. $5,000 later, she can't get to work. Who's paying that bill?
Wait a minute. She had no... Wait. So when she couldn't get insurance, she had no insurance?
No. I bought her a car. She had insurance on the car when she drove it off the lot.
But she couldn't pay it.
She didn't pay her
So
bill.
at the time of her accident, she had no insurance.
She had no insurance.
Now, don't tell me that when she had $5,000 in damage, you hiked up for that.
I was 21 years old, and I was an idiot.
Oh, you were?
Big time, big time. Well, move on to girlfriend number two. This one was a little bit more lucid, I would say. She had her stuff together, but, you know, she comes from Orange County, church background where the man takes care of all the bills and this and that, and I got swooped up into that. And, you know, I make 6 figures a year. I'm a real estate appraiser. I do pretty well. And I'm looking at how much money I'm saving a month, and I'm like, I can only put $1,000 a month away. This is ridiculous. Well, I broke up with her about a year ago, and I was single for about 6 months. And you know, after 6 months, I'm looking at my bank statements, and I'm like, wow, I'm stacking money. I'm actually able to save money. There's no chicks in my life pulling out money for, you know, steaks at Mastro's or wherever the hell they want to go. And now I'm dating a girl who she pretty much takes care of me.
Financially?
She buys groceries. She buys me razors when I'm out, shaving cream, toilet paper, and it's great. When we go out to dinner, it's usually through the drive-thru if it's on me.
How?
How? Well,
I said wow.
I know, and it can be done. I want all the boys out there to know it can be done. You just have to set it up from the beginning. You gotta lay down the law. You gotta let them know, hey, I want to buy a house one day. I want to have wealth. I don't want to, you know, I'm not an ATM machine here, okay? You know, I come from humble beginnings. I busted my hump. And, you know, I'm done. I'm 32 years old, and I got money.
The less time you spend with a chick, the lower the cost.
Absolutely.
And by the way, just like the income tax system, where when you start getting up into the income bracket of the very, very wealthy, the percentage taken goes way, way up. It's the same thing with a relationship. The more time you spend with a woman, it goes up exponentially. So it's very low cost if she lives far away from you and you don't see her very often.
She lives in San Diego, this one.
Perfect. But the minute she starts living closer to you and wanting to see more of you, eventually you're going to dinner 3 nights a week, and you're going to see Wicked for $100 a ticket, and you're going to see Phantom of the Opera when it's in town, and Cirque du Soleil, and every chick flick that's playing at the movie theater. And she's going to Starbucks every day, and she asks if you'd like something, and then she comes back and says, well, it'll be $11.75, honey.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're paying for everything.
Yep, not this guy.
Better to have chicks who live a little bit of distance from you, don't have time to see you.
Well, she's got 3 more years to finish her PhD. So
then you seem, by the way, you seem so accommodating. Honey, you've got that PhD to study for. You take all the time you need working on that. I understand. Then when you've got all that free time, you bang other chicks. That's what you do. Who also live far away.
I love what you do, man. I listen to you every day. I love it. All boys out there in the world, you need to listen to the professor. Listen to him.
Thank you, Rob.
Amen.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello to Darian on the Tom Leykis. Did Darian go away? Darian? Are you there, Darian?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Go ahead.
Hey, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all you've done for all of us. You're an amazing guy. And the other thing is that my 2 little brothers, their lives have changed because of you. But the last thing I want to say is you couldn't be any more right. My dad has a saying, men earn, women burn. Can you take me out Kobe style, baby?
I certainly can. Here you go.
This is about us. She's so special to me. Yeah, it beats in my heart. Yeah, the air I breathe. She's so special to me.
1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. You do pay a tax to be in love. Is it worth the cost? Is it worth it? Matt on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
How's it going, Father?
Great, son.
Good to hear from you. All right. Now, my story is kind of a little bit different, but sort of the same as the other guys have said as well. I've had the whole girlfriends before where you kind of got to pay for everything, and usually it just doesn't work out because you kind of get burnt out. But then eventually you just find the one. I met my girlfriend, well, actually my wife now, about 4 years ago, and we dated for a long time. I would pay for stuff at the start, and then she started paying for everything, and she's kind of, oh, it's got to be at least equal. I hate the fact that if you're going to pay for anything for me, that's not fair, you know. So kind of went back and forth and everything like that. And then eventually, before we got married, actually, she put the down payment down on the house and bought our house for us. And because I was waiting to get my job with the fire department, and now that we're both working, she's a contracting officer and I'm a firefighter, we just kind of split the bills. We both have our separate
Yo, would you
bank
split
accounts.
them 50-50?
Just about, yeah.
Just about? No. What do you mean just about?
Well, it's kind of like one of those things, okay, well, I'll do the grocery shopping today. Oh, the pets need some food. You go get it or whatnot on your way home. Here, give me half a mortgage payment. I'll pay the other half. Like, I mean, I just basically, I know this is sounding cliche, but give her the money and she pays the bills. That's pretty much exactly how it is. But
you give her all your money and she pays the bills with it.
No, I give her about half of my money. Right about that, because I make just a little more than her, but we spend just about the same.
So you pay equally the electric bill, the gas bill, the cable bill, the phone bill. You pay those 50-50.
Yeah, we spread it up just about as good as we can.
And the mortgage
it works
payment,
out pretty
50-50.
Yes, sir. It sounds pretty weird, but that's how it goes. I mean, right now we just went and got passports because we're leaving the country for our first anniversary. And she paid for all of the passport initiation and everything.
Yeah, who paid for the plane tickets?
She paid for the plane tickets and arranged the trip.
Who paid for the hotel?
She paid for it all.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, that is not normal.
No, but every once in a while you'll find the good one. I just want to say to all the men out there, just keep trying because eventually you will find one because I'm tired of paying everything like I used to do back in the days.
I understand. Well, interesting. I thank you so much for the call.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. Party like a king with Tom and King's legend Luke Robitaille. Saturday, December 8th in the exclusive Staples Center Grand Reserve Club. Go to blowmeuptom.com for details. It's the Tom Leykis Show.
It's the Tom Leykis Show coming to you from Hollywood. I'm proud of it. That 1-800-5800-TOM. I'm talking about what I call the love tax. Yes, boys, if you're stupid enough to be in love, just like there's a sales tax, just like there's a property tax, there's a love tax. You have to pay for a woman to be in love with you. Is it worth what you're paying? Justin on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm not doing so great. My girlfriend, or rather, she's kind of my girlfriend. She makes me pay for everything.
What do you mean she makes you pay for everything?
Well, it's not like she beats me up or anything, but, you know, I don't like to sit around at my house. I like to go and do things, but in order to do that, I have to open up my wallet and make sure that we can do those things.
Why do you have to do it? Why doesn't she have to participate?
She says that all her money has to go towards her student loans, and because...
Yeah, what about you? Are you going to school?
Well, I go to community college, so I'm, like, lower than her, apparently, but I work
Well, you will
full-time.
always be lower than her. If you will always be lower than her if you tolerate that.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe you're going to community college because you can't afford to go to college.
That's probably true.
Right. So now you're paying for her college, and you, in order to get laid, are going to a community college, which, as you know, is a lesser college.
Right.
Do you see what you're doing to yourself?
I'm holding myself back.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I work full-time, and with all my classes and stuff, I don't really have a lot of time to go out and get girls, but I still want to get laid, so I don't know what to do.
So you've hired a hooker.
Yeah,
that's what you've done here. She's a hooker. Your girlfriend is a whore.
You could say that.
She is. And let's review. You're so desperate to get laid, you would go to a lesser college and pay for a girl who has sex with you to go to a better college than you do.
I'm getting a lot of good work experience at my job, but you're correct, Tom.
Yeah, well, guess what? I don't know what job you do, but if you're going to community college, it can't be a very fulfilling one.
That's probably true.
Yeah. And do you ever consider it's more important to get a good education than to get laid right now?
Yeah, I did.
And did you ever consider the fact that down the line, after you have a real college degree from a real college like your girlfriend is going to get, that the quality of chick you will get long-term will be far better than what you have now?
No, I didn't consider it. I didn't think about it that way.
Yeah, well, you need to think ahead.
I had planned on, saving up money and then transferring from the community to a real college after 2 years and still getting, the normal good old...
Yeah, but the point is you're not getting the same education you would get. If you were going to USC, you'd be getting a better education than going to a community college.
That's funny because that's where she's going.
Well, there we go. That's where all the spoiled girls go, as you know.
Yeah, Jewish American princess, I suppose.
I didn't even get into that. But you see what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I do.
You have sacrificed your own well-being to get laid without thinking about the fact that you're going to need to get laid when you're 25 or 30. And if you don't have a good degree, what kind of chicks do you think you're going to get then?
Probably still hookers.
Well, you put it this way. The quality is going to continue to deteriorate.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
No, yeah, I definitely understand.
So when are you going to do something about it?
Well, I suppose I could just stop paying for stuff, but I don't know. What do I mean? Not getting laid, that's fine, I guess. I can find something else to do, but I'll be bored all the time, I guess. I don't know.
How about you use that time going to school and educating yourself, like a real school, with real homework and real term papers instead of going to the 13th grade as you do now?
Yeah, I could do that. I'm not sure if they would accept me, though, because I slacked off my grades in high school.
Why'd you do that?
I don't have a good excuse for that.
Yeah. So you essentially have decided at an early age that you're just going to be nothing but a loser, someone who cruises through life, accomplishing very little, making very little money, and being at the end of a whip being cracked in your face.
I guess. I mean, do I have time to change my decisions, or is it too late?
You have time to change your decision. In fact, I'm looking at the screen here. It says you're 19.
Yeah, I am 19.
So, yes, it's not too late to change, but you need to change now.
So what do I just start applying for schools? Do I quit my job, or like?
Well, I would first start applying to schools. Then take the money you're spending on this bitch and put it in a bank account and save it up for your tuition at a good school.
That's what I planned on doing the whole time, but I've been working here for almost a year, and I noticed that my bank was not getting any bigger. It stayed the same size.
That's because you're spending money on a bitch.
Right. That's what I see. Yeah. So you preaching about how girls are expensive, it's true, man. You don't make any money when you have a girlfriend. You have any amount of extra money, they'll squeeze it right out of you.
That's what I'm trying to say. Your bank account would be getting bigger if you weren't giving your money to her.
And, even recently I've been, like, cutting back and kind of telling her, like, well, if you want to hang out, we're just gonna sit around at my house and watch movies that, movies I own instead of going out to the theater. And I started saving money then, but then coming up this week, she says, well, we haven't gone on a date in a while. Why don't we go on a real date to some fancy restaurant and dress up real nice? And I just think to myself, and spend a lot of money was the next thing she should have said, but she never did.
Well, I mean, do you understand? Do you now see how this game plan works? She goes to school and gets a great education. Then when she's got a better degree than you have, let me look into the crystal ball with you for the future there, Justin. She drops you like a hot rock. Because she's going to want to date guys who make more money than she does. And if she's got a good degree, she's going to have a better job than you could ever get.
That's probably true. I mean, she says that she cares about me now, but I guess that's just because I'm her sugar daddy.
Yeah, and when she graduates, let's see how much she cares about you when she makes $100,000 a year and you're making $40,000.
Yeah. I see where you're going with this, Tom. So I guess the first thing I have to do is stop paying for her stuff, and the next thing I have to do is get into a real school.
That's right. Hang on a second, Justin. Let me get Stephen on the air. Stephen, what did you want to say here to Justin? Stephen?
Struggling, sitting here listening to this guy talk. I mean, what are you thinking? It's because guys like you out there do this for girls like this, and girls just boss you around. Hey, you're going to pay for this, you're going to pay for that. It's because you do this type of stuff that we other guys end up having to suffer the brunt of it. And chicks expect this stuff out of all guys because guys like you out there are doing this. This is ridiculous. What do you think,
I apologize for making your relationship with women harder. I single-handedly corrupted the women of America. I apologize.
Oh man, you're just young, you're immature. You don't realize that girls, especially the good-looking ones with the low self-esteem, are a dime a dozen. They're out there. I mean, you at 19 should not be having a girlfriend in the first place, let alone spending your hard-earned cash on this girl. You should be saving, and you should have a goal in mind. You should be nowhere near a relationship right now. I mean, come on, Tom. It's frustrating.
I've been telling him. I'm telling him. But the point is, how else do they learn unless I have these conversations with them?
Oh, I know it. And I got to say, I've been a long-time listener. I love your show. I tune in every single day. But when callers like this call in, it makes me want to just rip my radio out of my car. This guy saying his girlfriend forces him, makes him pay for this stuff. He's not even doing it willingly.
Meow.
You said it, Tom. You said it. Hey, Tom, can you take me out with a bong rip?
I can. Here you go. Aaron, what did you want to say to Justin?
Hey, Tom, how's it going? I just wanted to tell this guy, you're going to a community college, she's going to USC. What makes him think that she's not screwing some guy already? Come on. In fact, I just pulled up. I go to USC as well. I just pulled up to campus. Let me know, what classes is she in? I'll go say hi to her.
Actually, it's kind of funny that you say that because she tells me a few weeks ago how when she goes to school that she wants to stop seeing me because she wants to go to school single.
Why are you paying for her? Oh, my God. Come on, man. That should be a clue. Just dump her. Get rid of it. It's excess baggage.
I tried calling Tom about that like a few weeks ago, and I didn't get on, unfortunately. But, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, and you haven't learned since. Come on, man. You got to just do it. All you're doing is wasting money. It's flushing money down the toilet every minute you're with her.
I suppose you're right. Even if I try to play the cheapskate game, I don't know. I guess there's no real way out of it other than just to toss her to the curb.
She's a prostitute, and she's selling you her services.
Exactly.
So, yes, the minute you stop paying, she's going to sell her services to someone else who's willing to pay.
There are other girls at my school, I guess, that are interested in me, but I don't know.
Let me tell you something else, Justin, that you may not be aware of. Justin? Let me tell you something else you may not be aware of, okay? There are chicks in their 30s. Some guys call them MILFs or cougars or whatever. Who are dying to have a 19-year-old guy just service them. If what you need is sex, there's women out there who will give it to you. They just happen to be 35 years old.
Well, you know, if anyone will listen to the show, they can go ahead and give me a call, I guess.
This isn't a dating service, Justin, but come on. You're telling me you don't know how to find these women?
No, I'm just kidding, Tom. Hey, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop seeing this girl. I'm going to apply to a good college. Then I'll give you a call back, and I'll let you know.
Good. I hope you will do that. I got one more for you. Helen, what did you want to say to Justin here?
Hi, Tom. Love your show. I just want to tell you that I was 20 years old. I came here as a single mother with my kids, with my parents. I was no one else to be taken care of. So I went through community college. I went 2 years. I transferred to UCLA, graduated 2 years ago. All he has to go to a counselor, ask a couple of questions. There are always people to help, counselors, and they probably had counselors at high school as well. So I can't believe he's just like, I don't know what to do, where to go. It's ridiculous. It's a land of opportunity. If you want to go to school, they always give you not just help, but just financial help. You can apply. You don't even have to work full-time. You can just find a part-time job and work if you really want to go to school. Hello?
Justin?
Yeah, I hear that. And I know that there's help everywhere. I had to work full-time because I was making zero money with part-time because the girl was taking all my money. So I thought maybe if I worked more that I could save it, but she just started taking more at that point. So I guess that was the wrong assumption.
I think the other mistake a lot of people do, they try to work full-time and go to school part-time, and it prolongs the process. The more classes you take, the sooner you will be done with school, the more money you can make after you're done with your education. And it's a mistake. I mean, just maybe move in with your parents for a while, or maybe if it's not an option, just get a roommate, but you should go to school. It's very important.
Absolutely. Don't be paying for her to go to school, for God's sake.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.